Hi, you're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rosson, and I'm here today with Rep. Timothy Whelan, who is a member of the Massachusetts House of Representatives. How are you doing today, Tim?
Hi, Gabby. I'm doing great. Thank you. I mean, on a glorious day like today, after the winds and rains of yesterday, it's nice to have a little sunshine falling down on us to let us know that God still loves us and wants us to be well.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than sunshine, especially after a storm, and especially with what we are all going through. And that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you again so much for being on our show. COVID-19 is a huge issue that we're dealing with here, especially on Cape Cod with our very sensitive demographic. So could you talk to us a little bit about your response to COVID-19 and just about how you're working to help people right now during this time?
Sure, Gabby. It's a multifaceted approach. As you stated, we have a more senior demographic here than anywhere else in the state. We have, I believe it's my last check, the third most senior county in the United States. And so we have to be especially cognizant, especially aware, and especially careful here in Barnstable County to protect the seniors who are such a large part and such a wonderful part of our community. I've been putting a lot of work into using social media to put out information. When being a member of the General Court, we get an awful lot of information that's sent to us in emails and personal contacts and phone calls from the governor's office, from the Department of Public Health, from the Secretariat of Health and Human Services, and from the Executive Office of Public Safety, as well as I have regular conversations with our local first responders. So I'm trying to put out all of that information just as quickly as I can, so that just to fulfill that old adage that knowledge is power. I think that if folks are better informed about exactly what's going on, and the important thing here is that they're getting it from a reliable source. They're not getting it from the rumor mill. They're not getting it from something that their neighbors, brothers, boyfriends heard. I think that's really important. We've also been focusing on a couple other areas. One is the personal protective equipment, the PPE. We've been working with PPH and with MEMA to make sure that our local first responders and that our medical facilities are getting adequate quantities of PPE. We know that given the nationwide shortage, there have been periods of time when the stockpile or the supplies in our local facilities and departments have gotten really low, and we've jumped right on it. And so far, to the best of my knowledge, the major medical facilities and the public safety departments have never reached a point where they run out. And we're starting to see a turn on that, where we're getting more supplies, evidenced by the millions of masks that were brought in by the Kraft company. We're also focusing on food security for a lot of folks. Just started working last week with the Cape Cod Military Support Foundation. This Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, we're going to be holding a food distribution site, part of this program that the Military Support Foundation has, that's called Food for Vets. It's on my Facebook page, my official Facebook page. Folks can go there and they can click on the link. It does require you to pre-register. Veterans have to pre-register, and they can come down to Patriot Square this Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and in a very safe, non-contact way, they will receive a box with 2 weeks worth of food supplies to help them not only make sure that they have the food security that is a challenge for many people right now, but a lot of our veterans are seniors. And if this helps keep them out of the grocery store, and we know that there's been a lot of violations, shall we say, of the social distancing guidelines in grocery stores, it's also a way to protect those seniors and keep them socially distant and try and ensure that they don't contract this terrible, terrible virus.
That is wonderful. Okay, so this Friday from 10 to noon, you said?
Yep, in the North Lot at Patriot Square. And again, it's for veterans. When veterans go online, the link is on, they can Google Cape Cod Military Support Foundation, or they can go to my page where I have a link for it. And when they click on the event, they can go to the link, because you have to pre-register. Your name has to be on the list. And we're going to have a sufficient number of volunteers. What happens is people will pull in at a socially distant 6 feet or more. They'll
Okay.
speak to a volunteer who's wearing a mask with gloves, check their name, they'll be advanced. And when they get there, they pop the button, open their trunk. A volunteer will come, place the box with the food in their trunk, close the trunk, and that person can drive away with absolutely no physical contact, but with 2 weeks worth of food in the trunk of their car.
Wonderful. And where do they register for this again? Online?
Online, they can do it through the Cape Cod Military Support Foundation or the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation. They're both sister organizations. If they Google and go directly to their website, or if they go to my Facebook page, State Representative Tim Whelan, if they go to my Facebook page, it's accessible even for folks that don't have Facebook. They can click on the link. I've posted it a couple of times in the past few days as an event. Click on the event, and then when they click on the event, in the instructions right there, and I believe it's number 1 or number 2, it'll have the link that they can go to, and they just have to put some very basic information in there, but they have to be pre-registered. If they're not pre-registered, the organization won't be able to give them the food that they need.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that useful information. We will definitely share that with our viewers.
Excellent. Thank you.
Of course, of course. And thank you for everything that you're doing. Cape Media News does look to your page for certainly those breakdowns from Governor Baker, because those are very long meetings and a lot of information, and it really helps to have it broken down. And you're right about having that reliable source. So let me ask you, I know you're running for re-election.
Yep.
How has COVID-19 impacted your campaign? Are you feeling good about your campaign? Are you concerned that voters will have a hard time actually getting to the polls?
So I've set aside really anything to do with campaigning, anything to do with vote getting. The only thing I've had to do is I've had to collect signatures. We have collected the signatures that we need. I just got notice today that from one of the 4 towns that I now officially have more than enough signatures, and I'm well over the top. But I still have more people coming in. The response I've gotten from friends here in the 1st Barnstable District in my 4 towns, it's been just overwhelming. It's been very warm. We've been doing a lot of mailings to maintain that safe social distance. And then I believe it was last weekend, a weekend before last, so Palm Sunday weekend, I left clipboards out of my front porch along with a box of new pens and hand sanitizer. And folks, we had 160 people come in one day to sign my papers on my front porch here in Brewster, which was just, it meant a lot that people took time out of their day to do that for me. When it comes to anything else beyond that, Gabby, I'm just setting it aside for right now because we have to focus on the life safety, the health safety issues that affect the people here. The safety of the people here means, in the 1st Barnstable District and beyond, means so much more than politics. And I'm just going to focus on that. Hopefully, in the next month or 2, we will be turning a corner on this. Life will be able to return to normal here on Cape Cod. And then we can find a way, based upon where we are at that time, a way to safely campaign and get our message out to people. And I know that we're going to continue to look at voting for the September primaries and the November primaries. I think right now, listening to leadership in the House and the Senate, it's too early to tell where we're going to be yet for us to make any concrete plans. But it's certainly something that I know that's being looked at by the Speaker, by the Senate President, by the Secretary of State, and by the Baker-Polito administration, because we don't want this affliction, this pandemic, to subvert the people's right to vote or limit their access to the polls.
Absolutely. So important. But I really appreciate your stance right now that you're really putting lives and COVID-19 first. It is appreciated. So tell me, just before I let you go, because I'm sure you've got plenty of work to do today, what advice do you have for people right now on the best way to stay safe and slow the spread of COVID-19?
That's a great question, Gabby, and thank you for that, because it brings up a very important point. Right now, there are 2 things that we're looking at. We're following the numbers that are reported every day from DPH that I put out on my website. As we saw yesterday when DPH put out the numbers, those numbers fluctuate, and they fluctuate based on the availability of testing, the number of people tested. I would guarantee that at some point over the next few days, we're going to see those numbers drop significantly because a lot of the mobile testing sites were out of business yesterday with the 60-mile-per-hour winds that we had. So less testing means less positive results. We can't take solace in these numbers when they pop up and say, oh, hey, we're free, and start to step outside of the social distancing guidelines that have been offered repeatedly. I think that we have to stay the course. We have to hold fast. We know how hard it is for folks, but this isn't just about you. This is about grandma. This is about your next door neighbor. This is about when you go to the post office, the gentleman or the lady that comes in and uses the door handle right behind you that you just used. This is about our community. We can get through this. We'll get through this. Tomorrow is going to be a brighter day. We just don't know when that tomorrow is yet. But if we all do the right thing and if we all are smart about it, then more of us can get there tomorrow. So please just stay the course, hold fast, and continue to be careful and exercise all the social distancing and hygiene guidelines that the public health experts and the epidemiologists are recommending.
Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you. I know I am certainly following that advice. As you can see, I'm here at home, and it looks like you're at home too. So
I'm in my backyard, Gabby. And one thing that I have to make note to people, I cut my own hair. So if people are sitting at home wondering why I don't look like a woolly mammoth at this point, for 25 years, cutting my own hair. I cut my hair every 4 or 5 days. And it's not that hard to do when you have a #1 buzz cut going when you're rocking that. So
it looks good.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Looking real good. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And thank you to our viewers for watching. I'm Gabby Rosson. Again, thanks, Tim Whelan. And we will be back with another episode soon. Bye, guys.